Hi, welcome to the Ocean Pathways Pod. My name is Keon Walker. I am the Urban Outreach and Education Coordinator at Baykeeper, a nonprofit that has served to protect, preserve, and restore our local waterways between New York and New Jersey Harbor for the past 30 years. We're collaborating with AltaSea, an LA-based nonprofit whose mission is to bring technical and specialized skills to inner city youth with the vision of a pipeline to blue economy roles, as well as Hugo New, an industry leader in terms of sustainability projects, as well as green work projects across the New York, New Jersey area. Today, we have four mentees with us for our inaugural Ocean Pathways Mentorship Program, and I'd love for them to introduce themselves and give us a little more background, and we can go from there.
My name is Conrad Brutus. I live in Long Island. I'm a rising junior and I attend Loyola High School in Manhattan.
My name is Samayo Keeley. I live in Jersey City, New Jersey. I'm a rising freshman, and I'll be attending Empowerment Charter High School in Jersey City.
Hello, my name is Hannah Adhanawani. I live in Long Branch. I am a rising junior attending the Marine Academy of Science and Technology in Sandy Hook.
My name is David Stalker. I live in Middletown, New Jersey, and I'm a rising junior at Middletown High School South.
Awesome. So a really diverse group from a few different geographical areas. Awesome. So I want to get into a little bit about what we've been able to delve into this summer. And so first I want to talk about each of your research topics. What environmental issue did you identify? And give us a little more context for it.
I've been researching Superfund sites and contaminated sites in New Jersey to learn more of the dangers they pose to communities and the different ways to remediate them.
I'm studying how the environment is affected by businesses. The issue I am trying to address is whether the American companies are eco-friendly and good enough for our environment.
I chose to research coral bleaching. Coral's energy source is from tiny microscopic algae that are very sensitive to temperature changes. So when global warming drastically changes the water's temperature, the coral can no longer survive and is left colorless, affecting all of the biodiversity that lives near and in the reef.
I'm working to solve environmental inequities in the state of New Jersey, and this starts with researching different correlations between low income and predominantly minority areas also having increased environmental degradation.
Awesome. So I can see as we're talking about this, we've also covered a pretty broad range of topics. And I'm sure our viewers at this point are wondering what compelled you to choose this particular environmental issue. Give us a little more.
Well, Learning New Jersey has 115 Superfund sites and 14,347 other contaminated sites. More than any other state in the United States compelled me to learn more about this. The New Jersey lower income communities that deal with dangerous health conditions by simply drinking water or eating food deserve to be addressed. Communities like Ironbound, who have been dealing with this for 60 years now, still feel as if they're being ignored by the state.
What compelled me to further research my topic is the eagerness to learn more about the topic and how I can use it in my community.
I was compelled to research coral bleaching because it is a huge issue currently and affects many different species in the ocean.
Driving through affluent areas of New Jersey and seeing no power plants ignited a curiosity inside of me as to where these areas were getting their energy from. The unpleasant truth is that these areas are getting their energy from low income and predominantly minority areas that have a bunch of fossil fuel power plants and are driving the other areas of the state. This can be seen in Essex County, which has the second highest minority population percentage, along with having the second greatest poverty level out of all the counties in New Jersey. And Essex County also has 6 non-renewable energy power plants and has some of the most drinking water violations in the state of New Jersey.
Wow, very, very insightful, David. And as we're fleshing this out, I can really see that each of your projects allowed you to approach each problem with maybe a slightly different lens. We're looking at business impact, we're looking at community impact, and we're looking at environmental impact as well. So I want to talk about some of your findings. Based on your research, what are some potential solutions to each of these problems?
Well, Superfund and contaminated sites are usually funded by the EPA to clean. However, a lot of these sites are either ignored or just not given that much attention to. But if you utilize social media, create organizations dedicated to the sites, and contact local officials, I think the state and federal governments would have no choice but to get involved.
Solutions to this problem that can help are encouraging renewable energy usage, supply chain management, consumer awareness campaigns, and emphasizing eco-friendly choices. It's extremely important to address this problem at many different angles.
To make the biggest impact, we should focus on limiting the manufacturing and the usage of oil, plastic, and other pollutants. As Samaya said, there are a lot of big companies that have a huge impact on the environment. We should also focus on creating spaces where marine animals can thrive, such as kelp forests and oyster farms.
We need to enact environmental policy that equitably distributes the climate mitigation funds that our state has so that vulnerable areas can receive the funds that they need, the resources that they need to thrive and to enter a sustainable future.
Yeah, David, I love that you highlighted community. So thinking through, right, reflecting on this project, how do you think some of the solutions that you just presented to us might be able to positively impact each of your communities?
If more contaminated sites are clean, the food and water that would usually be harmful would finally be consumable. Then the adverse health effects like cancer, kidney dysfunction, neurotoxic disorders, and more would be greatly reduced. This would make the residents that have been forced to live in these grim conditions live a much better future.
I believe that emphasizing eco-friendly choices and having a consumer awareness campaign will impact my community because I think that is how people are going to pay attention the most. You know that people are going to pay attention the most when you start to put it out there more, like making signs, posters, posting on social media, and them learning and hearing about it, they can spread the word, and that's how we can fix the problem.
Coral provides food and shelter for many different species. It upholds the ecosystem and is necessary for the health and biodiversity of the ocean.
Climate change is a global issue, and by tackling environmental injustice in my community, I allow my town, my county, and my state to all work together to generate impacts that can be seen at a worldwide scale.
Absolutely brilliant work. You have a question for David? Oh yeah, that's great.
Okay, so Dave, what is one way you can tackle environmental injustice in your community?
So in my community, I feel, as we all mentioned, awareness is definitely big. Knowing what areas are most impacted by environmental injustice and knowing what areas have the worst environmental quality is definitely important in order to move forward and allocate the proper resources.
What would be the lasting impact if there were no more coral reefs? Like all the coral reefs were dead.
Well, because so many species depend on the coral reefs for shelter, a lot of species would not be able to survive anymore and protect themselves from predators or even be able to find food. So because of this, the ecosystem would have a lot of trouble surviving because a lot of smaller species that depend on the coral for shelter would not be able to survive.
Like the ocean wouldn't be able to regulate itself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be a step that businesses can take in order to become more sustainable?
So if that particular business doesn't have like if they don't do recycling, then they can integrate recycling into their day-to-day.
Well, yeah, like when you think about just one simple action for a company of any sort of substantial size, it can have a huge impact on that local community. Yeah, wow. Great question, great answer. So, thinking back, reflecting on the program, what's one key takeaway you have after the summer here with Alta-Sea, Hugo-New, and Baykeeper?
Well, I really love learning about aquaculture and farming the sea, how it's a great way to create a better future for the entire world.
I really enjoyed learning about water quality and how different factors can affect the water quality, like temperature, and how acidification can really affect different sea animals.
I really enjoyed learning about the oyster cleaning. I thought it was a cool way on how we can have fresh water and how we can use it.
Being here at Kearney with various environmental companies such as Hugo-New, Baykeepers, and Alta-Sea has allowed me to get the hands-on research and showed me that when we all come together to address an issue, that we can really make change.
Just for fun, what was your favorite moment in terms of the program?
My favorite moment was definitely when I threw one of the oyster cages into the water, and then I looked down and realized I was covered in mud.
My favorite moment was probably when we dropped the bucket and had to spend like 10 minutes trying to get it out of the water before it sunk.
If I was to choose a favorite moment, I'll probably say meeting all these new people and enjoying my time here.
My favorite moment was dropping the bucket.
This is Keon Walker from the Ocean Pathways Pod. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of your summer. Good job, guys. Good job.